I'm Scott Moore, and I'm a performance engineer. I help to make software and applications faster, better, more resilient. Lately, there's one thing on my mind.
Where's the best barbecue at, man?
So I'm going across the country, talking about performance engineering and barbecue. Join me as we take the performance tour.
While on the performance tour, I spent a few days in Denver, Colorado. I wanted to catch up with a few of my friends there, and since I was downtown, I knew the perfect meeting place, the Brown Palace Hotel in the heart of Denver. The Brown Palace Hotel opened up in 1892. It's listed as one of the most historic hotels in America and continues to be a Denver landmark. This hotel hosted world leaders during the G8 summit in 1997 and has a great atmosphere. It's kind of like traveling in a time machine to the past. And since performance is all about time, what a perfect spot to have a conversation. I've worked with Visionary Integration Professionals, or VIP as I call them, for over 10 years on performance testing projects across the United States. That's why it was great to finally take the time to sit down and talk with my friend Jeff Bettcher, the Chief Business Development Officer of the company. So I'm here in Denver, Colorado, the mile-high city. I think it was 10 degrees today, which for a Florida boy like me is a little hard and difficult to deal with, but I made it through the day. And I'm here with Jeff from VIP Consulting, and why don't you tell our audience of the Performance Tour who you are and what you do about your company?
Sure. So my name is Jeff Bettcher. I'm a Chief Business Development Officer for Visionary Integration Professionals. We go by VIP. I run the sales for the commercial group, and a lot of what we do is around software quality. So we do obviously implementations, software resale, trainings, and just trying to make people get enhanced benefit from the tools they buy, and really to enhance their QA efforts overall. So when we heard you were doing this, we were excited to spend some time with you here in Denver.
Well, I'm glad you joined me. I've actually been working with Jeff for many years now in different careers that we've had, but I know these guys have been doing performance testing about as long as I have, and so we've worked together on different projects. I know you've still got a lot of performance engineers and performance projects that you do, but what have you seen changing recently? Like within the last few years, have you seen the market shift a little bit, and if so, how?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good question. I mean, I think in the market today, especially around software quality, we talk a lot about DevOps, a lot about shifting left, a lot about doing testing earlier, more part of the process. All of our customers are going through some version of that change. And I think really related specifically to performance testing, it's a bit of a challenge, right? Because yes, you want to integrate performance testing early, but ultimately it's still very much a full process at the end once the application is built to see what that performance will be. So trying to move with our customers as they go through a DevOps transformation while integrating the fundamentals of performance testing with that and getting the benefit of integrating that forward and seeing through the whole process has been really a change that not only have we made with our team, but also throughout the market I've seen in the industry. So big changes there. Some of the other things to think about, I think, are, we're a platinum partner with Micro Focus is one of our testing partners, and one of our primary ones, really. And the reason is there's so many different ways to buy performance testing these days that they've done a nice job of whether you need it hosted or whether you want to bring it in-house, whether you're doing incremental project-based work or whether you're doing something that's more annual, ongoing performance testing. There's so many different ways that you can buy a tool like a load runner, or there's other tools on the market as well. So we really spend a lot more time advising our customers on here's going to be the best bet for you. This is where you're going to get the biggest value. This is where you get the biggest bang for the buck. And this is how it's going to get the most comprehensive coverage for the testing and the applications you want to do.
And sometimes the licensing is just for a day. Sometimes you just need a virtual user day to get you a high level of, you've already been testing at low levels and you need to hit it at the high
honestly, with some of the free tools out there that you can use incrementally, and then you can integrate a solution like a virtual user day from the Micro Focus load runner stack. It's fantastic. So we do recommend that sometimes, but then there's a lot of times when that's not going to be applicable.
Right. When we're taking these user stories, we say, as a user, I want this to happen, but we don't add the requirement of, and it needs to happen within this amount of time.
Correct.
So it's like there's so much emphasis today on functionality, kind of performance and security sort of gets shoved aside, and that's all non-functional requirements.
Correct.
Do you think that maybe we should start emphasizing that more and say, look, when you ask a functional question, ask a performance question?
Yeah, it was a little bit like I said earlier too. At the end of the day, we're still delineating between what is a functional, what is a performance test, educating customers around that basis, and I think bringing it to the forefront and saying, this needs to be a basic requirement for this application. And it's not a foregone conclusion this stuff is going to work. I mean, we see it every day. Black Friday problems, application problems, latency problems, timing problems, network problems. With all the firepower and hardware we have right now, you would assume that, it should work. But at the end of the day, I'm not convinced that customers are putting enough wherewithal early into that. Not to mention, the second thing I'll say about that is, I can't tell you how many calls we take where we have to figure out how to do a performance test in 4 or 5 weeks. We get through the whole process. They love our story. We've advised them on how to do it. We've educated their team, and they say, great. Our go live is March 15th, and I'm sitting here going, well, it's February X. We've only got 4 weeks to do this now, and so it's a lot to your point of getting that part of the plan earlier, getting to the right people earlier, and building up that awareness of the critical requirement that is performance testing in the market.
I heard a developer tell me one time that they think in this order, does it work, does it function, is it secure, and is it fast? Kind of in that order, because security, if you get caught on that, you get in a lot of trouble, right? Sometimes people can deal with slowness, but my thought process is, maybe it works well for one, right? But if it goes down because there's additional load and you can't get to a service, does it really function? Is that really a non-functional requirement? If it can't function under load, it's not functional. So, I don't know, maybe that's a grumpy old man in me, but I feel like it's important.
I mean, we're sitting here talking to ourselves about it, but at the end of the day, I think every conversation I have with a customer really bubbles back up to, geez, if we could have thought about this earlier, if we could have built this into the process earlier, we wouldn't be scrambling at this point to make sure we're meeting that requirement. Or what you see a lot is people just stressed about the fact that we're going to throw the switch, we're going to go live on, March 15th, and we're not certain what kind of performance we're going to get. What is that risk versus cost versus how do we build that in the plan? And that's frankly with the tools, the technology, the variable ways we can do performance testing today with different licensing models and service models. We have a managed service model we can deploy on that. That stress doesn't need to be there. We can alleviate that by building it in earlier.
So I know VIP's been doing performance testing. You also do a lot of quality assurance.
Correct.
So what are some of the other things that you guys do?
Yeah, we have a whole menu of services that we offer. It's everything from really going into a customer and building out a whole QA organization where maybe they don't have software QA yet, and they need tools to go through the process of building out a test management suite, building out a functional testing suite, building out a performance suite, and a lot of manual testing as well. So we can build that out. We can recommend tools and products and solutions. But then for some of our more established customers, we have some large-scale financial customers, some large-scale retail customers throughout the country. They have big QA organizations. Hundreds of people doing it. So they'll bring us in for point solutions to come in with a particular performance test or a particular automation need or a particular recommendation on a tool and how they're going to integrate it and how they're going to train their people on it. So it really runs the gamut within the software quality portfolio. We've been doing this for over 20 years. I like to say I've been here since the Reagan administration, really doing this. And at the end of the day, I think we've learned a lot, and we try to deploy that and recommend that to customers, and build that trusted advisor relationship with them. And then whether it's a person they need for a time, or a tool set, or the gamut of people, process, technology, we really help them to integrate that and understand what the options are. And we feel like we have a really good grasp on the market. I mean, obviously, like we're talking about, the market's always changing with the DevOps stuff. So we're doing our best to keep up with the latest and greatest, and spending time with guys like you on the tour and talking about what else you're seeing in the market, what some of your other customers and partners are saying, what some of your peers are saying. We keep a pretty close pulse on that and try and make sure we're tooled up with the right people and the right partnerships to do it.
Well, I like the idea of being a trusted advisor, leaving a legacy. That's always been my model, and that way you never lose a customer.
No, you've done it.
They change. So.
I mean, you're the poster boy for going out and being an expert, parachuting in, really helping advise this and that, and getting them on the right track, and then coming out. The other thing I tell the customers is, we have partners like Micro Focus and other partners. They're our primary one. We're a Platinum Solutions partner for Micro Focus. We do that because, especially in the performance testing area, their tool covers probably still, even though it's been out forever, the largest variation of protocols and enterprise level applications. And we go in and we say, look, if it can be performance tests, we're almost certain we can do it with load runners. So we have a lot of stability there, which creates a good partnership between us and them. But also, we tell the customers we don't have to go with any tool. We're not a tool. Ultimately, we want to make sure that you have the right technology to accomplish your goal and build your solution out. And that's been a pretty successful approach for us over the years, which has been really cool. Well,
I'm a big fan of Load Runner. It's got like you said, the widest protocols, because in the enterprise they don't just have web. They still have legacy apps. They still have Citrix. They still have things that they have to deal with from days gone by, and they need to, any tool. My process is always tool agnostic, but if that tool gets you there faster, so that's the strength of Load Runner, is its breadth of protocols and also the analysis piece.
Yes.
And that's what some of these point tools and open source tools don't give you. If all they give you is
Absolutely.
high times and they don't tell you why, that's a problem for me.
Correct.
I've got to get to that solution as fast as possible. It's not about being the best coder to create scripts.
Correct.
It's about getting to that analysis and letting the truth rise up,
And we'll sometimes combine a load runner tool and a freeware or a web-based tool to kind of get the best of both worlds on analysis and load generation and make that as effective as possible. A lot of customers are doing that. That's been great. But additionally, I think if you look at really where the market's going today, I think in the past you'd have to spend an inordinate amount of money to buy a perpetual license for Load Runner, and we touched on it earlier. But today, you can really kind of customize how you want to purchase that.
That's right.
Do you have the hardware? Do you need to do it in the cloud? You've got that option through like a tool like a Storm Runner. Are you going to be testing globally? They have a license for that. Do you just need to do a quick and dirty test for a day to see, does this thing stand up? Buy a term license for XYZ or a virtual user day like we talked about before. So I like that model. It's worked for us, and other companies have some of that too. But like you said, we're doing, I think right now we have 2 to 3 projects going on where we're still testing, some green screen Citrix stuff that's antiquated, and they're maybe taking it up to a web-based application, and we're still having to do some benchmark work, and it's amazing.
But it may not be going anywhere anytime soon.
I'm always shocked at, so what's the application? We dig a little deeper and we find out that's 25-year-old technology.
It's a good old mainframe behind
and we
the
still have
scenes.
the performance testing. So interesting. But anyway.
Well, this has been great, and thank you for being on the performance tour. And if you want to know more about VIP, how do they find out about you on the web?
So you can go to our website, trustvip.com, and that's where we have a whole menu of stuff. We cover not only commercial market, but state and local and federal business as well. We have a couple different groups that do that. And then we have a whole menu of some of the things we talked about today under our software quality practice.
Okay.
And then, you can always reach me. I'm Jay Bettcher, Bettcher, at trustvip.com.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being on the
All
show.
right, Scott. Great to see you.
And after all of that, you know what's next, guys? Barbecue.
Here we go.
Let's do it.
During my stay in Denver, I actually visited not one, but 2 barbecue restaurants. Russell's Smokehouse, and Post Oak, Denver. Let's have a look.